All right, what's good, y'all? This is Midas Drop. We are Midas Print. Today, we have a special guest. This guy is a go-getter, Mbouge, Randy. I like to go by his last name because when I met him, he went by his last name, and he took me back to my intercultural communication class.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
But you actually just mentioned a communication class?
Yeah, intercultural communication. So what that was like teaching us about other cultures and how they like introduce themselves, how you should introduce yourself to them.
Right.
And one of the things was that they go by their last name. So the house of Mbouge. That's how they went by it. They went by their house. I'm like, this is confusing because
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's ironic that you mentioned that because when I was in high school, I felt like we weren't talking enough about communication.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be like, how can I spearhead a class out of nowhere? Like, how can
Yeah.
we make a class out of nowhere? So then I just spent like the whole entire day just going and getting signatures for the class. Like what, 16, 17 years old?
This dude's a go-getter. You can already tell right off the bat.
I was just like 16, 17, and I was like, man, I feel like we need to have like an effective communications class.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to do this, but I'll just write effective communications and like petitions.
Yeah.
Like people signed up, and I was like, I need 100 signatures today. And I just went around the school, just signed this piece of paper. And that's how you know. I was just like, you just sign this piece of paper, and then you just sign the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I when I was in my senior year, I started like thinking like that, but it's like kind of like it's too late. But even me now as a teacher, I'm like so invested into world geography, and that's my department right now. And I'm kind of like, yo, why don't we use this Pimsleur app? This Pimsleur app basically teaches them a different language for like a certain amount of time. And the lady's like, no, you shouldn't do that, da da da. But I'm like, this is intercultural communication.
Right. Right.
And world geography is a very interdisciplinary study. So it basically touches on multiple facets of a culture itself, like the government, politics, language itself. So, but like definitely when I met you, you said Mbouge, I was like, huh?
Yeah, no, I think it was just, I was like, oh, because I think it all depends on maybe who you're talking to and just like how like you want to introduce yourself that in that moment. So I think then that's probably why I was like, this is my name. You know
Okay.
It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't too crazy, but this is definitely a segue into what Randy really does. Randy is a real estate agent, and also he is a veteran. I can say the least, and I could definitely relate to him. Not because I was in the military, but because I'm a military brat, which means that my parents were in the military. Well, my mom was in the military for 21 years. Bless her heart. So
that's different.
Bless her heart for sure. But today I want to really talk about like, because I know you, because of that event, and thank God for that event that I went and I actually like got to meet you. But now I get to meet you and ask you questions about like just the mindset, man.
Yeah, let's talk about
the mindset is crazy, and it's crazy because you're not even just talking about it, you showing the mindset. And I saw the numbers, and I was like, so you do this every day?
Every day.
I'm scratching my head. I'm like, I do kids every day, and I can see why that's hard. But for me, the real estate game seems super hard to me. I don't know why. When people like, well, teachers quit faster than than they do in real estate, and I'm like, this is crazy. Cause I seen a teacher quit just to become a real estate agent. I was like,
it depends.
For me, it was different.
I think it depends. So I think it you got to ask yourself, what is it that you want to get out of it?
Yeah.
And like, how much work are you willing to put in? Because if you don't put the work in, how are you going to expect then the end result?
Yeah.
And so I think then it's a matter of what's the alternative to? Like, if I wasn't going to do the work, if I wasn't going to choose to do real estate, what would I do?
Yeah.
So it's like in this season, in this moment, this is the work that's required for me to get to the next level. So I don't really think and to be honest, it's while I do it every day, as far as, communicating with other people and networking and establishing better, greater relationships, calls, emails, texts, whole 9 yards, but it's the game I'm willing to play.
Yeah.
And so that is the game that I'm willing to play. Therefore, I'm doing what's required of me.
Okay. So you just meeting the requirements.
And so the goal is, of course, to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
But the requirements is that you actually do the work and then just keep getting better.
Okay. So you basically was like, okay, in your mind, you basically started off simple. right? Just let me just meet these requirements. Okay, I gotta make calls today. I gotta do this today. Whatever is required of just the beginner stage. And after a while, it's like, okay, well, now I can go complex. I can do more and more and more and build upon that.
Well, some people don't even like to make calls. If you're talking about from the real estate game,
I'm a teacher. I know.
Right.
I don't like to make that
and
call.
So the thing is too with that is that the same teacher who decided to quit and join real estate.
Yeah.
The question that we also got to ask ourselves is, what did their sphere look like? Like, who are the people that they knew?
Yeah.
That were then like, hey, I want to buy a house, or I need to sell my house. So of course, because she had people lined up that were raising their hands saying, I want to do business with you. So I probably made her life significantly easier.
Okay.
So it just depends. Like, someone has a sphere of 1,000 people or even 100 people that say, I want to do business with you because I know, like, and trust you. Life is good.
Okay.
Like, life is real good.
I didn't think of it that way. Like maybe they had a better chance of being a real estate agent rather than being a teacher. Probably. Even though they loved it, even though they love their job, you know what I'm saying? But if, the money is in real estate, and even though you hate sales, let's say you hate sales, but the money's there, and it's probably less stress because you don't have to deal with kids, right?
That's true.
It's like a win-win. Even though you love teaching, you can always teach real estate.
That is true.
So
that is true.
That's where I'm like, I might not do this for too long, because I'm like, teaching is a very great skill, and that's what we're going into. Like, everybody's creating a course, everybody's teaching something, and I'm like thinking about, like, right now I'm thinking like about how you got started and where you were telling me, because when I saw you was in the military before you got into real estate.
No. So it's ironic. So, and that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I started real. No, I no. You're to your point. You're right. I did start. I was in the military before.
Yeah.
I did real estate, but I was only I was in the Army for about a year and a half at that time.
For real?
Yeah, before I got into real estate. Yeah.
Oh.
So it was, I just was like, oh, I'll join the military. Oh, I want to become a real estate agent. So I did it. Like, there's not like if I want to do something, I do it. Like, it's not, I think that's where when people talk about like limiting beliefs or limitless beliefs, I just think, okay, if I want to do something, what do I need to do to then just do it? It doesn't really.
Rather than just being a thinker.
I'm not thinking about all the
consequences that come with it. Yeah.
Now, of course, don't sink the mothership. Don't sink the boats.
Right.
Not all of them. But it's like, I said, okay, I'll join the military. I didn't go active duty, so therefore it made it different. If I went active duty, I'm not sure if I really would have got my real estate license. There's no guarantee.
Why you say that?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I would have probably been molded differently. Because if you go active duty, from what I've learned, you're doing the military stuff every single day. And maybe you get a few days off, but still, like, that's your primary job. Why they pay you biweekly? So yes, you're going to work.
Right.
So
Right.
I didn't go that route. So then, therefore, it was like, okay, I'm back in the civilian side. What am I going to do to then make money? I was either going to trade, or I decided to do real estate.
That's dope. Like, to think about that. Like, I remember having like a part-time job, and then like in college having a part-time job, but then coming into school and like, what do I really want to do?
Right.
And it was very hard for me because I'm like, well, I didn't get, like, we was talking about communication. I only took that communication class, or decided to change that major, because communication is very important. Very, very important. Like I said on my last podcast to a guest, that communication basically runs the world, not money. It's becoming to a point where communication is very vital over money. Because if you don't know anybody, how can you make that money?
That's interesting.
And how can, like, let's say you get a client from like India or like just across the world, right? But you can't communicate effectively because you didn't want to like progress yourself in a way that you can actually cater to somebody from another culture.
That's fair.
But that's high level communication.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So now what if you just had a translator and you presented them with a great enough
deal? That makes you a genius.
I mean, because if you leverage someone else out and say, hey, like, I don't want to be disrespectful to your culture.
Yeah.
So why don't I just get someone who translates?
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's smart.
Still make business happen. There was not miscommunication between both parties.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about that. So I was like, man, yeah.
Because you're right, to your point. Like, you don't want to go to another, you don't want to go overseas and disrespect someone else's culture.
Nah, I can't even imagine.
You know, because you don't know the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, at the time I was thinking that, like, I was just like everywhere. I'm like, yo, I gotta do communication. I want to learn business. How I'm gonna learn business? Because at that time I was not reading books. I wasn't like doing the whole personal development stage. I was more so of just like trying to find my way to get to that point, right? So for me, my case in point is that I eventually got to that point, but it was like I was just like navigating the education system, even though that education system is only built for workers. Is to make you a worker in that field. Like the only way that you guys should become an entrepreneur is if you already understand the concept of being an entrepreneur. Like for me, going to college was like, okay, I'm gonna start a business, but most of those business people don't really have their own businesses. They're professors. That means they just teach it from the book. They don't know the material as far as experience, which
it's different.
Yeah, knowledge is different from experience. You know what I'm saying? It takes wisdom.
That's wisdom.
Yeah.
It turns into wisdom.
Yeah, it turns into wisdom. So,
and I think I think I've had to learn over the last couple of years that in order for someone to be credible, right, there's status, there's education, and then there's money.
Yeah.
And so if someone has one of those, why should I listen to you? Well, because I have my master's or I have my doctorate.
Right.
It is what it is. Whether and that's the thing. Some people just are great at school or great at tests.
Yeah.
They have their masters, and yet we're like, this person is not this. Like, they earned it though, but you just let it be because it's like, well, who's to say they didn't earn that designation?
Yeah, right. And the thing about that is when they just mention their masters and they mention their doctorates, it's just conventional ways of thinking. It's not. They're not thinking upon the point of like using the imagination to create something better, which takes unconventional thinking. They're not doing that. When they say that, it's just
what goes back to the end result. Like, what is it that they're looking to? What is it that they are looking to accomplish?
So with the person, like with the masters and all that, when they mention it, like for me, is like I think their end result was just to like get a master's to talk about it and say, "Oh, I got it. You have to respect my authority."
See, that doesn't even.
But
what good is that then? How does that become a net positive to society? Because someone is thinking
exactly
because I earned this designation, you have to listen.
Have to. Right.
I think that's an ego. I don't say it's an ego trip.
But I actually talked to people with doctorate degrees and master's degrees. In fact, there's a person that got the same amount of income as me with a master's degree, and then a doctorate. And he was like, he was telling me, he was like, it's not worth it. He says it's not worth it. If you can read, you can write, and do the material, that's it.
And see, it goes back to what's the end result, because now you have the education and low key a little bit in the status of you're a doctor. Now what? Like, now what?
Now
because
what?
if you don't want to, if you're not looking to do something that's, whether if you're a doctor, you want to do anything in law, whether it be even nursing, like accounting, or not, like just certain professions that require said basis of like education.
Yeah.
Now what? Because we've been like, you know, it's almost, I don't want to say frustrating or, you know, upsetting.
Yeah.
When we talk about, you know, someone says I went to school for a history degree, and now somebody's getting laughed at because they're like, why do you have a history degree? You know, it's like, you see what I'm saying? It's like someone put in years of effort, time, sacrifices, dedication, and then you're like, why did you go get a dance degree? That's unfortunate. Like,
I hate that I'm laughing.
You're right. You see what I'm saying? Like, because think about it. You put in effort. Like, you actually put in grit, determination, the grind, sleepless nights to earn this degree. Then somebody says, what type of degree do you have? And they say, I have an art degree. Right. Like, imagine, like, that's like, what do you, like, you put in the work to earn that designation, and now somebody's laughing at you because they're like, what are you going to do with that?
Because it's like, now what? What are you going to do? So that makes a lot of sense.
Now, because it say, okay, when Kanye West, because I think he professed that he has either a master's in music or as a doctorate in music. It was one of the two.
I
I may
didn't even
be
know
wrong.
that.
I may be mistaken. However, Kanye West said, you know what? I've already done the work and created such great samples or great music. And now what am I then doing? I'm just adding on to my level of education.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's
so
like,
it makes sense then.
You see what? But it's like, okay, how? Because the question I would then look to say, okay, I go and get my doctorate. The question I would look to ask myself is, why am I going and getting my doctorate? For what? What is the end result?
Yeah.
What is the end result? Am I getting my doctorate for me? Am I getting my doctorate for other people? Or am I getting my doctorate for me to then inspire other people to do the same within the realms of education? Because that is one of the ways we're able to come up. But now the same could also be said, build a big enough business to where you can just fund other people to then go to school.
Okay.
Because now I create opportunities for other people. So it just depends on what's the end result.
Yeah. The end result.
What's the end result?
So for me, that makes a lot of sense. But it makes a lot of sense now.
Right.
It just makes a lot of sense. Back then, it didn't make no sense. I would
Right.
like you said, when you do it for people, that's exactly what I did it for. I did it for to be the first person in my family to graduate college, and that was it.
Congratulations.
And then it was like what you said. Now what? Now what? That's a dangerous place to be at, because
like you don't want to. Because I feel like
there's a limit there. Like you say, limitless thinking.
Yeah, that, and I also think for me personally, it's like, imagine if I went and did certain things for other people, and then once I accomplished it, I ended up resenting them because I did it really for them. I didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And then the way I've been thinking recently is, I'm not even promised tomorrow. So then if I'm not promised tomorrow, I mean, I had to spend all these years doing something else somebody else told me to do. And then instead of pointing fingers back at myself, I'm pointing fingers at them.
Yeah.
And now it's all one big problem.
And that was
It's not
something
their
you mentioned.
fault for them looking to say they believe this is the best route for you because that's all they knew, that's what they experienced.
Yeah.
And now, they're just saying, I want you to have a better life. I think that you going to school and doing X, Y, and Z will provide you that life. And you grow older and you're like, what have I been sold?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a question. And that's why I like asking questions, because then it forces one to think. I'm not looking to have someone else think this way. I'm just saying, here's a point of view. Here's something that I've learned that served me well.
Yeah, that's something I learned about myself. It's hard for me, when it's like, when somebody's like, do you have any questions? Like right off the bat. Like, let's say in school, like kids do that. Yeah, I'll be like done teaching and I'll be like, do you have any questions? And they're like, no. But as time goes by, like let's say we create a dialogue instead of having questions to just ask each other, and questions come along. I think that works best for me, or I think for anybody that is like stifled by the education system. Because for me, a lot of the students that I have in my class, I allow them to communicate a lot. So whenever I'm done teaching, I'm like, anybody has questions, I'm like, I don't even trip. I'm like, y'all go ahead and continue with your work. Now they got questions because they're talking, they're communicating. Yeah, right. So that's what's worked for me. I never could just ask questions right off the bat whenever I like have to call somebody and get a conversation with them, because what it all boils down to is stories. Like your story when you said, "I'm not promised tomorrow," and that's why when I look at your social media, I'm asking you, like, how do you do this every day? Like, how do you put your best foot forward to like post and let people know, like, this is the grind, this is the struggle, and like keep a smile on your face the other day. Like, what? Like now, 12 in the morning? I'm like, what?
Yeah, most of the time though, I don't have. See, a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am posting the process.
Okay.
I am posting what I am doing, so that then this is not an overnight success.
Yeah.
I have posted it. I have documented it. I have had the conversations. I have made the connections. I have spoke on the relationships. I have gone to the banks. I am showing you what I am doing.
Yeah.
So that then when you say, wow, oh man, wow, Randy's done this. Wow. It's like, no, I showed you.
Yeah.
I said, I rather have people reach out to me, right, and ask those questions that they have, or say, hey, I'm struggling or I'm going through this. Can you please assist? Than rather to be struggling in silence and then you never ask the question. Even if I don't have the answer, I'll just refer you to someone else who does.
Right.
but at least you asked.
Yeah.
So I'd rather post the process and say that, hey, it's not always easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always easy. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I just think that surrounding yourself with quality people then allows you to keep pushing forward, because you have people that either it's the checks and balances. You have people maybe that you can open up to your heart and mind and spirit and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people that actually say, I see you and I want you to operate at your highest level.
Yeah.
You know, how can I help, or how can I support that?
Okay.
So I think it's having quality people around me that has also helped, you know, the person that I'm becoming.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So what is something that really moves you? I'm not saying like something big, like the smallest thing, like the first thing on your mind when you wake up in the morning. What is that thing that really moves you?
My mom's not retired yet. Right?
Okay.
So my mom's still working.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it dawns on me that, because the fact that my mom is still alive and she's still working, and yet I've been born in America,
Yeah.
and yet I have not yet gotten to that point where I'm able to retire my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, it eats at me.
Yeah.
You know, because of what my mom has done for me. It's
Yeah.
not that I don't necessarily owe her that.
Right.
But I think that for me, it's something that I do aspire to give back to my family, because they've done so much for me.
Yeah.
And so we talking about the American dream, but
Mm-hmm.
yet have we yet put ourselves in the position where we can truly live the American dream yet, the way that it was meant to be used
Right.
or utilized? I don't think so, not yet. So
nah.
That's one. And it's just multitude. The fact that I woke up. Now, a lot of people, we talk about this, but do we actually live about it? And I think for me, it's like, I've also put myself in numerous near-death experiences that literally could have been avoided. And so because of that, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, I got another day. That's crazy. Because when I close my eyes, like, by the time I wake up, I'm like, whoa, like, because imagine you pass away in your sleep.
Right.
To me, is that real?
Yeah.
It's that real that I close my eyes. You may not wake up.
You have a lucid
you may
dream.
not wake up. So for me, it's like, whoa, I got another day. So those two off the bat, it's not about motivation anymore.
Yeah.
It's about, this is what I need to do. My mom's still working.
Yeah.
That eats at me. It's not that it's a requirement. I don't have to, right? It's like, I could say, you know what? Let me go make 80K, 100K, 120K a year. I'll probably be straight. Just me.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
My partner, few friends here and there. I'm cooling. I'm all right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that then I would know in the back of my mind, you had an opportunity to become all that you could be, and you did not capitalize on that. That you were presented with the information, you've seen what a taste of wealth could look like, and you did not capitalize. I think I would regret it. That I had everything right in the palms of my hands, and I didn't do what was necessary. I'd feel some type of way. I would. I really would. That I read all these books, that I watched all these videos, that I went overseas, that I moved to different states for money, and then yet I chose to then not become wealthy. That's crazy.
That is.
That's crazy. That is. I'd feel some type of way. I really would. I kid you not. So that to me is, you ask the question of what or why I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, I gotta do and be better. That's why.
And how does that come about? Like, actually, like being able to answer to yourself, like, this is why. Are you questioning, like, do you question yourself, like, when you just sitting there chilling, like, today's not promised, and it's like you sitting there thinking, like, what am I going to do? Like, let's go back to you. I know I saw you posted like your 21-year-old picture. What were you thinking when you were 21? Like,
that's
that experience in the army and all that stuff.
Why my conviction,
that's what pushed it.
But yes, the reason that's why my conviction is so high right now, because I'm the same person sitting in this chair that still had all the resources at the palm of his hands and was not capitalizing on it.
Okay.
So to me, it's like, it eats at me that, there was a point in time where my mom could have passed away while I was 21. And there was nothing. And I literally was like, damn, I got to be back at work on Monday.
Yeah.
I was upset. Like, say my mom had died. If my mom had passed away, what would I have done?
Right.
I would have just, oh man, like, what would I, like, it's more, and I'm saying this because at 21,
Yeah.
it's one that was one moment because my mom really could have passed away. At 21, I had got out of a relationship I had no business being in. I got fired. I had moved from Houston, Texas to Alabama. That was the only reason I moved to Alabama as a black man, and then I got fired. So now I'm
to make money.
To make money, and now I'm just sitting here in Alabama.
That's tough.
I'm sitting here in Alabama, just now what? You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's multifaceted. That it's like,
yeah.
And then in that same year, I got presented an opportunity to go overseas to Kuwait, and I said, one of my sergeants asked me, "Do you love your job?" He said, "There you go, boom, go." Like, go to Kuwait. Oh, I just went. Like, I literally just a few months later, like 6 months later, I was in Kuwait. Like, I kid you not. Yeah, I think I had that conversation maybe either July, maybe. So 6 months later, December of like 2022, no 2021.
Yeah,
I was in Kuwait.
Wow.
Like towards the end of the month, yeah, I was in Kuwait.
That wasn't too long ago.
It's not. That's
wow.
A little over 2 years ago. So what I'm saying is that truly, as I'm reflecting now, it's a multitude of experiences as to why I'm able to sit here today with such conviction.
Yeah.
Because if I had died, none of this really would ever matter again. Because I've died.
Yeah.
If my mom had passed away, that's one of my extreme whys as to you're worried about motivation, but I just need to make a series of decisions to get better.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Wow. Like that. This is, but like I'm saying, this did not happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like this is 5 years in of like me failing forward, me writing a lot, like journals upon journals, me reading a lot. Like this was a continuous process, evolution almost.
Right.
So I sit here today to say that it's like, what about the 17 or 16-year-old that doesn't have peers around him or her that are actually pushing them to be better? And then by the time they get in their 20s, they're not making decisions that are serving them at the highest level because they haven't had certain guidance or peers making better decisions. So we're just all in a pool of ignorance. That we all keep making the same or similar mistakes that don't matter.
That's very common.
You see what I'm saying? It's very common. Oh, this person's a drug dealer, a gang member. Let me just join them.
The cycle. It just
the continuous. Cycle. Like it's just so. I'm sitting here today. It's just, and I have a high level of conviction because you asked me how I was in 21. I was 21 years old, 55K salary, and I'd go to work every day, come back home, work on books or read, write, go on IG lives and partake and give back at what I thought was, education or wisdom at the time. And that was my day. And I worked out every single day. I was running multiple miles per day just because I wanted to.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. And just living life.
So do you think, I don't want to say traumatic experience, but I'm going to say it anyways.
That's fine.
Do you think traumatic experience is what caused us to have such conviction?
Maybe.
To where we really want to go? Maybe. Like you said,
maybe
near-death experience.
Maybe.
I can relate to that though.
But the thing is, like my near-death experiences were purely out of ignorance.
Okay.
I just kept making the same mistake. Like I was like, I'm grinding. I just won't get enough sleep. So I was sleep deprived. Then I'd be like, let me go drive. Like that's ridiculous.
I can relate to that. That's why it's so bad. It sounds so bad because I'm like, yo, I was really doing that same thing.
It's ridiculous.
But like 2 years ago, I was sleep deprived. But I was like pushing 80 hours, and then Airbnb, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get this money. And then when I got the money,
you almost lost your life.
Now what? I'm tired. Like I'm so exhausted. I can't even think straight. The money just sitting there. In fact, I bought a bunch of a whole set, a couch set. I was that tired. Stupid.
Just not informed decisions. Like
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Based off of the reality is, it was the decision to not get enough sleep that then led to a bad decision or not a wise decision. So it's like it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like we can avoid these things. And if you're saying that's just us two sitting here, how many other people are just not making wise decisions because they don't know or they don't care to change?
And what? Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I don't maybe have the solution as to is it a traumatic experience, but I do believe that it was decisions I made that led to the consequences of me maybe not having a car or me almost dying multiple times. So it's like, somebody said, man, once you feel it once, I'm like, I felt it a couple of times, still didn't change. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really actually, that's insanity. Just doing the same thing every single day, expecting a result. That's me making a decision that wasn't serving me. We're talking about being sleep deprived. There's other people just probably making decisions of I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Because they think they can make money, and then they get into it and you're like, you're not making no money. But it's a form of insanity. You're doing the same thing, expecting a different result, but you're just jumping from different opportunities. None of them you've mastered. So therefore, how can you expect to make money? So it's
so you don't know what it took though.
What that was
to like eventually like reverse that, to like you just making the same mistake over and over and over to the point where you're not like just dwelling in ignorance.
To reverse that, I think because.
So what did it take to reverse that?
See, but that's the thing. In using the word reverse, reverse what? Nobody taught me that. I did that to myself. You know, so maybe you're saying reversing the wiring of the wiring of the ignorance,
the lack of ignorance,
rewiring the ignorance of what I was doing.
Yeah,
I think it was just that, you know, the more that I get clarity on like who do I want to be, or like what type of man do I want to be, there's certain things that. How can you, as a man, be sleep deprived and expect to lead someone to the promised land?
You're gonna be sleepy hollow.
You're gonna be sleepy. You know what I'm saying? It's like so. It's just like how, you know, you want to lead your family, to quote unquote greatness, but how you gonna do that? You sleep deprived. You're not even making wise decisions.
You close the thing to death, like
right. So it's just like in rewiring that. I think it's just I had to really come to reality, like with myself, and I think that. You know, even if, you know, people say you mentioned spirituality, but it's also like some of those situations I could not, like, I could say that it was my fault that I got into that position. But it's like the fact that I'm alive, I can't just simply say it's luck.
Right.
Because I could have died. Like I really could have died. Well, I could say it's luck, but I also say nah, that was not me. Because the same way that was the same way that my tree could have ran into the bushes is the same way my car or the tree could have ran into the bushes. That's crazy. The car could have ran into the bushes.
Yeah.
It's the same way the same car that I was behind the wheel of could have ran into the tree. Or could have ran into the concrete. Or could have ran into the steel. Like either way, that's like multiple ways I could have died. Or could have ran into the next car. Like that's 5 different ways I could have died and I walked away scot-free.
Right.
All right, I gotta lock in.
This is crazy. What I'm saying?
So that's my experience. Or you go overseas, and people talk about the burn pits in Kuwait or burn pits in Iraq. They say, "Oh, it's not there anymore." But the fact remains that you're still going out there, and there's no form of grass out there. It's just sand everywhere. You're on a base. It's just
that's
sand
impressive.
everywhere for 9 months.
Wow.
Now. You know what I'm saying? So and then it's just the thing is that you know you go to these places, or it's the same way that Inky Johnson mentioned. You go outside your door and you leave your front door, and the fact that you came back is a blessing in itself. Because if you left your front door and you took it for granted, and that was the last time that you would have came back home. Yeah. Would you start to look at life differently?
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just, but you see what I'm saying? Like, so it didn't take too much for me to need to change because I was like, I don't want to keep living this life. I'm not satisfied. I haven't become all that I can be. I'm failing myself at this point. So if I don't change,
the end result.
The end result's not gonna change either. Yeah. So I had to come to terms with what needed to be done. And if I didn't get more sleep, it was always just gonna be either I'm sleep deprived and I'm falling asleep behind the wheel, or I'm not healing properly when I go to the gym and I train. So now I'm worried about. See what I'm saying? Like it's multifaceted. Like it's not just one. You know, still it's like it's a series of decisions. Wow. Whether that's making money, whether that's going to college, whether that's like it's all a series of decisions, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Because I had the same experience where I have like a series of decisions like I was doing. Like when I was joining combat sports. I was sleeping in my car because I had an Airbnb. It was my own unit. Terrible mistake. But at that time, I was like, fuck it. We're going to keep going because I feel like I'm going to get another apartment and it's going to be better. And I should have waited to do the combat sports, but I did it anyways. But I was sleeping in my car. I wasn't getting much rest. I'll be waking up 4 a.m, but I only got like 4 hours of sleep. Probably like fell asleep at like 12 because it's hard to sleep in the car anyways. And go to the gym, work out. And then I was only training for like 1 month. And then I was like, I want to compete. So I went to compete. And like before my competition that day of Friday, I remember to this day, it was Friday. I went straight to the gym, worked out hard. Like I was like, let me get these pull-ups in, push-ups, dips. And then Saturday came, you know what I'm saying? Still doing the same thing I was doing, sleeping in the car, not getting any rest. I showed up to my competition. First, 30 seconds. Dislocated my shoulder, throwing a punch. Didn't even hit the guy. I wish I would have hit the guy. It would have looked a little better. You're like, he probably hit him hard. You know what I'm saying? Dislocated my shoulder. But when I go back and I think about that, I'm like, I was sleep deprived. I didn't get any proper rest. I was like working out like I had like I was taking steroids or something. I had like all that type of like I was gonna heal fast or whatever. And the end result was being injured. The end result was like slowing down. Couldn't really do much after that. So it was like, but it caused me to slow down. And that's one thing I'm thankful for. Like slowing down, right, by force. Slowing down made it better for me. Because what I started to do, I started to really think about my decisions and where they were really taking me. Even though I felt like it was good because I was like, yeah, I started my business. I'm an entrepreneur. But my decisions and how I was going about it wasn't so good. I was kind of acting like an 18-year-old. Like I was invisible.
But that's
I really wasn't not.
And it's like we're all so capable, and yet, it's almost like we get in our own way. I really do believe that we have more than enough potential, and yet we just keep on just getting in our own way, just for whatever it's worth. Because every like million that I keep looking at, it's like what they did is of course outstanding. The value they provided back to society is phenomenal. It's also though, did they quit?
Right.
Did they give up on themselves, or did they just keep shooting? Like did they just keep shooting? Wow. Like, is that literally like? Could it all just be that simple? Yeah. That the ones who did not quit on themselves then became all that they could be.
Yeah, you may want to go play basketball.
I'm just saying.
For real, because to get better at shooting.
Now, there is like, oh, you 4'6" and I'm making it to the NBA. Right. I mean, look, by all means, limitless beliefs, limitless thinking.
Yeah.
But it's also like the market or the universe will show you. So there's also like, it depends though. It's just, I think it also depends, like, product market fit, or like, how you acquire customers, like your business model. Like, let's also have some realism included.
But it just feels like a science behind that. Like
it does,
a science behind basketball. Like keep shooting until the ball actually gets into the bucket.
Or develop your form, right? Because people used to, I mean, for what it's worth, I didn't study it, but when people make comments about Larry Bird, right? They'll be like, Larry Bird,
that's sick form.
Terrible form, but yet it always went in, or
that's magic.
High percentage. You know what I'm saying? So it just, I might even Magic Johnson.
I don't know.
Yeah, but see, what I'm saying is like, look, it's just the fact. It's just the fact that it just depends. Like it just depends, and I think everyone has their own life story that they're writing, and what do they want that book to look like? All right.
So how many journals did you have to write to actually like reach a point of like clarity and that strong conviction?
Wow.
Because I know you mentioned like your experiences, but I think for me,
writing
like brings things to life. Your thoughts, because sometimes your thoughts is just like in there, but when you write it down, it becomes concrete.
Writing to me, when I was 16, because I remember vividly, like 16 years old was when I really started like writing for real.
Yeah.
And what it did for me was I was always doing brain dumps. So like every single day I would just be writing like, this is what I felt, this is how the day went, this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is how this person made me feel. So I think it really did, fine tune kind of like how I think, or how I'm able to think. Because I didn't start thinking like this, bro, honestly, like a couple months ago, like 4 or 5, 6 months ago. But it's also like the experience of the last 5 years of just rolling over and failing forward and making these mistakes. And now it's like, oh, I think I got like, magically somehow I just figured it out. Like I was like, oh, I need to stop doing this. These distractions are not serving me. This is their business, not my business. Like stop doing that. So it's just like all these things that I was like, it didn't happen overnight. So maybe 5 years later, the clarity then, hit.
Just click.
Yeah.
So subconsciously, it finally just like it hit home.
I believe so.
I think I think that's how it really works. Like that's how it really worked for me. Like the past 5 years, just reading a lot of personal development books. They call it paralysis analysis until you actually do something. But I was thinking like maybe I was just going through a shift and it was a very painful one. So I don't know how to.
Too. I mean, because the thing is that there's also the basis of people just say, "Oh, get closer to God," then you'll figure out what you need to do or answer your calling. So it could just be multifaceted. There's so many, like, I think it just goes back to what type of life
you truly want.
Do you truly want to live? And then answer that question. Because now, if you write at the top of a page and you answer the question of what type of life do I want?
Yeah.
And then now you see it, now do you know what type of life you want?
And then why?
Answer that question.
Then why you want?
Because it's just you and the paper. It's just you and your God. It's you and your, like, what type of life do you want? What type of life am I willing to then pay the price for? Because nobody said it was going to be easy.
No.
It's not a guarantee out here. So, yeah, I think that, that's just how I kind of strive to look at life now.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's deep.
Life be life, bro. I'm saying.
That's crazy when you actually like sit here with somebody who just you're doing one simple thing. That's just doing the work.
But many are. I don't think it's that many are not willing to. I think this is why I go. I think
they don't know how.
I think that could be it. But I also think it's like when I first started making calls, I didn't know how. But I know I know how to make a phone call. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know how to make one phone call. So, okay, do I just need to call these hundreds or thousands of people? So be it. Then a little bit of guidance, though. I think it also can go back to choosing wise counsel, though. Because I'm fortunate enough that when I was 16, a mentor put a book in my hand. But it also goes back to, like, is this something that I really wanted myself? Because I stumbled upon Les Brown or videos, or I stumbled upon Eric Thomas. But it's kind of like when the book, here's the thing. My mentor provided me with a resource, with a tool, and I decided to capitalize on it. What if I didn't? Where would I be? I don't know. I don't know what that alternative would look like. So I'm just grateful that I had a mentor put a book in my hand. And so I think when I'm documenting this process, I do want people to reach out to me. I do want to go into those high schools because say there is that 16-year-old that's been messing around with the wrong people, but just never had someone put a book in their hand or showed them what you can do. So we just don't know. So then we just operate in ignorance. We just literally operate in ignorance because we just don't know. But we don't know. But now it's getting to the point where we have social media. So it's kind of like.
So then it becomes their fault.
What do you want to like?
So does it become that person's fault now, since they have all that?
Or is the brainwashing just that deep though? Or is it like ingrained? Because it's like it goes back to also your environment. Because it's like if you grow up a certain type of way and no one ever told you that how you were born may not be your fault, but how you die is your fault. Maybe, maybe not. Right? Like no one mentioned to you emotional intelligence. No one put a book in your hand. No one showed you certain videos to watch. No one said, let's start thinking differently of how you can turn $1 into 10. So then it goes back to like we get mad that the rich keep getting richer, but look at the way that they operate.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna teach my kids X, Y, and Z. Yes, I'm gonna let my kids know this is treasury bills or this is how you do real estate. This is how you invest into stocks. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's an expectation. This is all they know. They only know how to be rich.
Yeah.
They only know how to build wealth. That's all they know.
Programming.
It's programming. Damn. It's programming.
That's what makes.
That's different. That's different. Because if we're having a real conversation, it's to say that we get mad that the rich keep getting richer. But look at the way that they've positioned themselves. So it's like, what do we then need to do? Just ask a question. What needs to happen? What needs to happen? That's it. Not blaming nobody, not pointing no fingers. What needs to happen? Who do I need to get around? What do I not know? Or what do I know that's not serving me?
Yeah.
Let's just do that. Let's start there. I don't like my current life. What do I need to do? Let's just start there.
So it sounds like a lot of work needs to be done in the thinking department at that point.
I believe so. I mean,
because you if you question yourself enough, because that's all I used to do. I just sit there and contemplate, like, why this, why that, what do I need to do this, why haven't I done that yet, why am I waiting, what am I waiting for, or it's like, why not me?
Why not me? Why
Exactly.
not you? Like, why not?
So it's like,
why not? Like,
yeah.
why is it that I'm not able to have X, Y, and Z?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's start there. Like, why not? Why?
Because everybody's human. So it's just
somebody else did it. So why not? Yeah. Why not me?
The excuses.
Why not me?
Excuses, complaining, and doubt is like the top 3 killers for somebody who wants to succeed. Not your environment. Your environment can easily change.
If you choose to change it.
If you choose to change it, yeah. Man makes the circumstance. So man makes it, you create the circumstance yourself. So it's like, why? I can't tell you why. I can only answer for myself, just like you answer for yourself. So it's kind of like it has to be almost like being selfish. Having that ability to be selfish, because I think a lot of times society teaches us that you need to do for others. Like you said, you need to get rid of somebody. You need to get rid of those who get rid of everything that's not serving you. That's being selfish. But it's okay to do that until you get to where you need to go.
Or to just, certain seasons.
Yeah.
Because, like, if it's like, if you sacrificed as much as possible of yourself for other people, what happens next? When people say, "Oh, you have nothing left to pour back in yourself," I wonder why. Like, you said no boundaries. You said no boundaries. You said no standards. You said no expectations.
Man.
And I'm thinking for myself, it's no reason, or it's, of course you're hurt. You said no boundaries, right? You said no expectations. You said no standards for yourself or for others. Of course you're hurt.
Damn. He said, "Of course you're hurt."
Of course you're hurt. like I'm just thinking for myself, like for me. Dang. You know what I'm saying? We're just
now it's good that you speak from like you, because like
it took me a while though. Yeah. It took me a while.
I'm not even gonna lie.
You should do. I was like, no, this is what's worked for me right now.
Yeah.
And maybe in 5 years I may be talking differently.
Right.
So,
maybe. There's no telling like how long it's gonna take. And that's why I be thinking to myself, I'm like, I gotta think long term, because I don't know the amount of energy, time, and effort, or like how my mind is really working to actually get there. And like, I don't want to put a time limit. All I can say is gonna be, I think, long term. Because what if I don't reach 10 million in 5 years? You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, am I gonna stop there? So it's kind of hard to put a set time on goals, because you want to go big.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go bigger.
That's it. Go big or go bigger.
Go big or die trying. Like,
it's something like, because keep shooting.
Like you said, man, you're not promised tomorrow.
I'm not.
So
I'm not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
One thing that I will say is that, you remember how I mentioned the Club Shay Shay with Cat Williams?
Yeah.
Something that Cat Williams mentioned about, if you were to go to bed and that was the last day that you were able to live, would you be okay with that? Like, to me, the only reason I reference death a lot, or at times, is because, like, not only have I put myself in near-death experiences, but it's also like, if you were to pass away, it's like, what happens next? Like, everything that you did on God's green earth, and you pass away, what happens next? So to me, I personally like to use death as a reference point to say, like, keep going.
Yeah.
Because if I pass away, I'm not worried about being motivated. Right. It's been real. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's been real.
You're not distracted.
It's been
You're
real.
none of that.
So it's like, just keep shooting. Keep being grateful for what it is that I do have, and just don't stop now. Why?
That's what I like to do. I like to compare life and death almost being like twin siblings or something like that, because I mean, you go to sleep supposedly to get energy, but it's kind of like it's almost like dying, because like you said, there's nothing there. Like you just don't even know if you're gonna wake up.
It's, and I really do love this conversation, because it's, giving time to like really reflect.
Yeah.
And like actually say, like, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I'm not doing? What is it that I could be doing?
Yeah.
And who are people that I need to disassociate with, right? Because the thing is that it's like every single day matters. Like, we're in February. Like, people just be thinking like, oh, this is my 2024 New Year's resolution. It's like, bro, before you know it, 2025 is gonna be here.
Right around the corner.
Like, it's that serious. And I think that's why I'm so grateful for the fact that, I was able to have wise people in my corner when I was 19.
Yeah.
One realtor told me, he said, a lot of people are sleepwalking through life. I'm 19 years old. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you
What's
really
this guy
mean?
talking about?
What are you talking about? But it's like, imagine, like, think about that. Like, me personally, I was like, a lot of people are sleepwalking through life. What does that mean? Like, people are just
coasting.
Life is just coasting. Like,
not really taking control.
That's why when people say like, oh, I'm gonna just see what life brings. Or I'm gonna see how the day goes. I'm just kind of free flowing. I'm going with the wind. It's like, how can you be going with the wind?
That?
Even in like, oh my gosh, even the chapter after Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, I always say it wrong.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes, when it talks about gone with the wind, or by the gone with the wind,
the
wind, gone by the wind. It's like, what does that then mean? It's just passing you along. It's going.
Yeah.
It's going. It's leaving you.
Like,
it's not going to stay.
Like, even if you either like, if you decide to do nothing today or you decide to do something today, either way, you're right.
I like that.
Because all is vanity. That's what Ecclesiastes, when I used to read it, it'll say all is vain. Because like, you can become wealthy today, your son would ruin it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to read. I'm like, yo,
but what I'm saying,
that makes sense.
It's like,
wow, dang, bruh.
Look, if we really, like, you've been given this gift.
Yeah.
You've been given this gift that you were given today. Right? And I talk about that a lot, because if I was to pass away, I had one more day to become better. I had one more day to provide value to other people. And that's it. Like, it's just, so, to me, it's finite.
Yeah.
To me, it's really finite.
Yeah.
It's February 3rd, 2024.
And it's speeding
January has already passed, gone, out of there. You will not get that month back. You will not get that month back.
No.
It's like, how many times do we need to see certain things? Because we keep talking about going back to motivation, and it's like, you worried about motivation? How can you be? How you not motivated by the fact that you got another day, you got air in your lungs? When people talk about, we worried about wealth or getting money, and it's like, well, if you're on your deathbed, you're not worried about the money. You're worried about your health.
You worry about the best. You worrying about the best day of your life that you had.
That's why I just
wow.
Stay out the way. I just stay out the way.
Stay out the way.
Stay out the way, because it's like, I don't want none of that around me. People taking life for granted. People playing with it. It's like, what if you knew somebody that you'll never see? Like, imagine you just, like, where it really could. This is the power of masterminds, the meeting of the minds, because a third mind is formed, right? That's what I believe when I heard Tony Robbins say it for the first time. And it's like, what about the person who was never born? That will never get to experience the clouds, never get to experience the stars, will never get to experience certain foods, will never get to experience just living, just breathing. What about that person that will never have this opportunity, and yet we have the audacity to be taking this for granted? That's why, like,
I hadn't even thought about that one. Never was born.
Never was born.
Never got to experience.
Never was conceived. Like, never got to see, like, what we're taking for granted.
Why? Thinking is so important.
Being able to think for yourself, like, even outwitting the
critical
these
thinking.
books, critical thinking. I just think it's multifaceted, and I think that we are powerful beyond measure, and it's up to us to maximize on the gift of life.
Critical, and it's critical to think.
It is. It is. People don't be thinking. Not people. I don't think it's people.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah. I don't think it's that people don't be thinking. I think it's that it goes back to what type of life do you want to live. And I think the life I want to live requires me to think. Okay. Requires me to think. So in me saying I'm thinking, it's because I'm not worried about how I feel. I'll be mindful of how I feel. Yeah. But I need to keep moving forward. Okay. I believe that's what's required of me. So something that I also think is amazing too, you talk about you mentioned mindset, right? Yeah. If we focus more on collaboration, and the definition of collaboration, if you want to use Webster's dictionary, is the act or process of working together or cooperating.
Communication.
So
collaboration is very important. Dang. This is dope.
Man, I'm grateful for the opportunity.
But as we wrap up, do you have any questions for me?
If you had to ensure that the Black community as a whole was going to look to shift their ways overnight, what would you tell them or propose to them?
Dang. I would propose to the Black community, if we want to really create a shift, is to focus on self-love. Focus on you. That's the first thing you need to focus on, is you. Not trying to come together first, to focus on you, because if you can think for yourself, you can collaborate. I guarantee it, because everybody will have something to offer. Pretty much. Yeah. We'll all have something to offer, rather than basically have resources to give to each other. Because if you think for yourself, you can go out and go do this, right? If I think for myself, I'm actually going to do what I want to do. And then we'll come back and collaborate. You got resources? I got resources. I'll give you an example. You remember that post I posted? I was taking a picture and I was saying, point of view. When you get a call for opportunity, one of my brothers gave me opportunity. He's in aviation. So he sent me to learn how to fly a drone, because you need a license for it. And the course, free.
Wow.
Guess what I was doing? 4 a.m. Learning that. Yeah. Getting that shit done, because it was free, but he gave me a resource because I'm bringing him on the podcast. I have something to offer for him to actually get exposure. So it made sense. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying not come together, but you have to be selfish and focus on you, because the world is filled with distractions. You cannot help somebody if you cannot help yourself. That's it. That's it.
I appreciate the conversation.
Just like what you just said. You said, man, everybody out here living like they promise tomorrow. They taking it for granted. I wouldn't want to be working in the Black community with a bunch of people that aren't thinking like you, but are like mediocre, taking it for granted.
Someone who's truly dangerous is someone who's not afraid to lose their life.
Exactly.
It's different.
So if you really like thinking for yourself, you willing to die, because you actually are thinking for yourself. You are being your true self. You're being you. So when you actually mean what you say, And like when you're talking, I can feel the conviction because I'll be doing that same thing. But it took a while to get to that. Mm-hmm. It took a while. I was writing about Midas Print while I was going through it.
Right.
And I was like, this is my conviction. This is Midas Print, Midas Print, Midas Print, Midas Print, Midas Print. Loved it. Loved it. I was like, man. And then that's when everything started to change because I had like symbols, logos, important. Everybody has a symbol. But everybody has a symbol for like clothing brands. Why won't you make your own? That actually move you before you're moved. It starts with the mind, then the body will follow.
I appreciate it.
This is lit. All right, y'all. This is Midas Drop with Midas Print. Peace.